Okay, we're going to be talking about. Let me talk a little bit about the history of our company specifically. We're going to talk the history of SoftWash, and that's going to be a much shorter lesson. I really want people in thinking through this lesson. I've recorded this video a dozen times. I have a version of it saved on the computer that's like 30 minutes long, or it might be 40 minutes long, and it's just because it comes right out of my heart. I'm Jeff Kirby. I'm the founder of the company, and when it's like your baby, so you're thinking of all these things that are important to you, the lessons of like how this whole thing developed. I can give you that snapshot. I'm probably going to go for about 5 minutes here and tell you bits and pieces of the history. It starts with the history of me. So, like I said, my name's Jeff. I started this business in 2013. We go all the way back to where I started my sales career. I talk a lot about the history I have, and I went to school for chemical engineering. Pick up on that. That's went to school for. Didn't get a degree. In that time frame between 18 and about 28, 26, when I got out of school, I didn't have a degree, and I'd been through a half a dozen majors, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. When I was 18, there was a hint that I should have just stopped and started my own business because I wanted to do it at that point, and my parents said, "Oh no, you're going to school." Neither of my parents went to school and finished. They didn't really know what that was all about. My mother's childhood upbringing was very rough, and she didn't even get through. She barely got to high school, and by the time she got to high school, she dropped out because she was lost. She'd had an accident as a child. Somebody threw a rock at her and put her eye out. My mom lived most of her life with one eye, and so back in the 50s, if you had that kind of surgery and stuff, it's not like today. Um, she missed a lot of school. So I came from a background where my parents didn't go to school. My father, on the birth certificate when I was born, his job was good humor man, and tried to go to school and all, and didn't have the money, had kids to take care of now. So I came up from an impoverished beginning where my parents were poor, and living with uh, my grandparents until I was about a year old. And anyways, that's kind of like the start. So I get through school, I go into sales, I find out I put my heart and soul into sales. I was about 6 months into a job when I was going to get fired because I wasn't doing the job, and I wasn't happy about it. And I said, I was selling cleaning supplies, so I like to say I was a janitor. I sold toilet paper. And I literally had a conversation with myself one day, and I said, well, if you're going to sell toilet paper, let's be the best damn toilet paper salesman in the world. And I went to work, and it changed my life. That decision that day, standing on a porch, on the back of my porch in Annapolis, changed my life because I made a decision and then I followed through on it and I put action behind it. And it became damn good at what I do. I went through several jobs. What I was looking for, I could not find. What I was looking for was a company that would support me and help me make like a picture, like as a salesperson, all your clients, you have like a vineyard and you're cultivating your vineyard and you continue to plant seeds and you're growing those seeds into a vine and you're pulling fruit off of it. And you want that vine to grow and grow and grow, and you want it to sprout out more and more vines. And you start with a few seeds, and 15 years later, you wake up and you look out into your yard and you have this beautiful, prospering, flowering vineyard that produces fruit, just abundance of fruit, and it produces another vineyard and another vineyard, and it just keeps growing. That's what I was looking for. And every company I worked for wanted to pigeonhole me and go, "That's not your job. Go sell this." I literally had one company tell me to stop selling large accounts. Wasn't my job. Go sell these small accounts. I had already proven that I was excellent at opening large accounts, but they said, "We got people that do that." It didn't fit their business model to have another person who could sell large accounts. It disrupted their business. Well, they're not me. They said, "We're going to live inside this box and stay here and be this big. We're comfortable." And think about what that means. That would have been, it's a distribution business where we sold cleaning supplies. That would have meant another truck on the road. That would have meant another job. Somebody who doesn't have a job at what could be a great company has to work at a different company or be unemployed or underemployed could have an opportunity. Somebody who's in the warehouse, back in the days, those days we had pickers where you had to stock the trucks. They're done a little differently today, but that's besides the point. Um, it's you're taking away prosperity not just from me, but I was creating jobs by selling more. I was creating opportunity for them to grow and add more people to the business. Somebody in the business would need to be promoted to another position to handle the growth. Well, they didn't want any of that. They were comfortable at their number, and everybody else was there to just produce those numbers so they were comfortable. And they were taking away prosperity from the people who work for them. And I saw that and I thought, I don't want to be part of that. So I left to go to another company. And I went to that company and I was the number one salesperson in the whole country out of 375 people. And they didn't hold me back. That company went belly up. That was during the dot-com era. You can look that up. If you're watching this video, you probably weren't even born at that time. But that's just a little fun thing I like to say. But anyways, I'm telling you all of this so you get an understanding who I am and why I wanted a business. Because I had dreams and aspirations of what could be. A little bit of arrogance comes with that. Oh, I can do it better. You know, that's what you think when you start. So about 2000, today's, we're filming this video, is 2024. And in 2001, the dot-com thing blew up at this company I was working at. So I went fishing for almost 10 years. I had a friend who was in the fishing business, got me on a boat. I started learning that business. And likewise, I put my, whatever you call it, nose to the grindstone. And I became really good at that. And not right away, took a couple years of development in the skills and all. But I put hard work ethic behind it. And it wasn't but a couple years, and then I became a sought after person. I wasn't a celebrity or the only guy that was, recruited or, that kind of thing. But I became a guy that you would want on your boat working for you. And it opened doors for me. I got to go to Hawaii. I fished the Great Barrier Reef. I fished in places you may never have heard of, like La Gomera. I fished in Providenciales in the Turks and Caicos. Ran a boat in Guatemala. Ran a season in Costa Rica. Lived in Hawaii for about 3 years. I lived in some really cool places and got to travel. And that cultural exposure and difference around the world, it's everything that people tell you it is. It's pretty cool. And that certainly, and talk about a lot of things. It changed my life. It had a profound impact on my life. It showed me how big the world is. And when you get here and you're in this little town, we're in Linthicum, Maryland, Linthicum Heights, Maryland. This is where the headquarters is. And man, we're just a puny little dot on the planet. There's so much out in the world there for you that you can go get. What you can see as far as what's in front of you or at the end of your road is still just a little pimple on the earth, man. The world is a big place. We want to help you prosper here so you can experience that too. I'm getting a little deep here on all that. I'll pull it back into the story. But just remember that had a really profound impact on my life, in my perspective of the world and what's available. So I get off a boat and I go back to work in 2010 in the middle of the recession. I go and make a bunch of money. I buy a house. I had good prosperity in the job that I had. And I'd had a few incidences through my life where in payroll, basically I got, short end of the stick. I got done wrong, severely wrong. And it happened to me a couple times prior. This time it was the tune of $40,000 in 1 year I got shorted in payroll. And I said, that's enough. But I couldn't quit. I was shopping for a house. And you can't quit your job when you're shopping for a house. So you've got to wait about a year to work somewhere else to prove stable income. That's basically the way the banks do it. At least at that time when I was looking for a house, that's the way it was. And so I had to work for this guy for another about 16 months, knowing that I had gotten robbed of $40,000. So I bought the house. I found the house, accelerated that process, really upped my game in looking for a house, found the right house. And within a month, started this business. Started out as Kirby Power Wash. Started out as Kirby Facility Services. We were think of it as like a handyman service to the commercial world. So to a property manager, we would go do project work. We could strip and wax floors. We could repair a door. We could replace a window. We could clean carpets. We could do woodwork, do some caulking, handyman work, stuff that you would hire somebody, not a full-on contract. You just need a little of this done or a little of that done. Something you might not have the resources to do in-house, but doesn't require a grand scale of bidding things out. You just need something fixed. And honestly, that didn't go too well. Didn't last too long before I landed in some power washing. And I found traction in that where I got a couple of jobs. And from that, I got a larger job. So what do? I get this $5,500 job washing a building. And I got this little, at the time, I didn't even have a 4-gallon machine. It was like a 2.5-gallon machine that I was using. And I went out shopping and I bought a used box truck and a pressure washer, spent $21,000 to put this outfit on the road so I could go do a $5,500 job. Because in my brain, I couldn't say, I'll just rent something. So I had to go buy it. So then I'm looking out my kitchen window one day and I'm seeing this thing sitting in my yard. And I'm like, I think I'm in the pressure washing business. So I started advertising that and that took off. Let's fast forward. First year, we had a tremendous year. A little bit of company history. We also got into the installation business where we installed restroom dispensers, toilet paper dispensers, hand towel dispensers, soap dispensers. I'd had connections. Remember, I sold toilet paper. I'd had connections where I could get those kind of installation jobs. And so I started doing that work for some extra cash money, cash flow. And in our first year of business, this was a big deal back then. In 2013, we did $318,000 in annual revenue. Compare that to your average power washing company who's like an owner operator. If they did $318,000 after 5 years, they would be doing very well and they would be exhausted. Well, I got off the truck in the first year. Within about 2 months, I'm off the truck. I'm not the tech anymore. And by the end of the first year, I had 3 crews on the road working. Not great money for 3 crews, if you understand those numbers. But it launched us into the next year. I quit my job. All of that was while I had a job. I quit my job and went full time. So we ran almost a year. I quit my job before the year was out, but about September. I had enough going on that I couldn't do both, but I produced all of that while still having a job. So it was a lot of work. Let's fast forward through what the development of the company is when we really get into soft washing. So that's 2013 I start. By 2015 in the springtime or the winter, I go to the conference learning about soft washing. There's a group in Florida who kind of, I don't know if they say they started the soft wash business. People argue against that. Doesn't matter. They made it big, okay? The guy that kind of started all of this made it a really big deal, took it worldwide. He's certainly the godfather of soft wash. That is really the patriarch, the guy who really made this a term and a service. Well, I went to his conference. I bought the equipment, I bought the training, I bought the chemicals, I bought consulting, I bought all of that to capture his time. And for 2.5 years, he taught us the business. So we got a really accelerated growth curve to learn this business right from the guy who's started it all. Our neutralizing soap that we use, for example, you think he started a business and on day 2 he had that? He went through a lot of heartache, rusty trucks, damages at properties before he developed a neutralizer soap to use in the 7 steps of the process to remediate against that. So he's the one that had to go through all that. He developed the business. It became a thing. When we started this, there were 125 companies in the whole country soft washing. Today, we always joke and say there's about 78,000 just down the street from you because everybody and their brother claims to be a soft wash. Okay, your bookkeeper and your landscaper and your housekeeper all have a soft wash. They don't, but they say they do. So, anyways, at 2015 we start the company. Let me walk you through some numbers to tell you this, and I'm going to tell you why I want you guys to know the history of the company. This part. The other part's a little bit of fun bit, like that's who Jeff is. Now I get into the business. And what is our company like? From 2015 to 2018, we grew from, right away I had 2 trucks. I got a skid the first year. And within like 3 months, I talked to a guy who I'd met at the conference. He called me up and he said, I'm out. Do you want to buy my equipment? I said, hell yeah. So I drove up to his place, picked up his stuff. And right in this first summer, we already have 2 trucks running. The next spring, we run 2 trucks and we max those trucks out. We're just busted. Like we can't get any more work on them. So we're growing in revenue. We're growing in people. In end of 2015, back up a little bit, we moved out of my house. We're working out of my house at this point, and we move into a proper office in Linthicum, our first office, not this one. And that was a scary moment, signing a lease, and making a commitment like that. And it changed the game for the company for sure. It made it a different business. Well, 2000 end of 2017, we've now got 3 trucks on the road. In 2018, we get a fourth, and the game changes. Our marketing company comes to us and says, we didn't know what this soft washing thing was. So in 2018, they look up their Google Analytics, and there's 2 hubs on the whole planet for the word soft wash. There's Florida, where it all started, and there's Maryland. The second largest presence in the whole world for searching the word soft wash is right here. That's because of us, because of the marketing we did and the gospel we spread about soft washing. We're making a tremendous impact. So all you guys who aren't watching this video, who work in our market, you're welcome. Okay? Because you wouldn't have a business today if it weren't for us. So from 2018, we keep growing. We keep adding revenue. We keep adding people. By 2019, we're busting the seams, and we can't even park the trucks and charge them every night. We put some outlets on the front of our building, and the landlord came by and saw them. I'm supposed to have a meeting with the landlord to get approval for this. Property manager didn't show up. So what does Jeff do? Let's install them. They didn't show up. That's a license to go, right? So we had them set up for about 2 months, and they come by and they're like, "You can't do that." So we argued for about 6 months. I left them there, and eventually we just cut the lease there. We did eventually remove those outlets, but we just think about that for a minute. The incompetence of someone else can affect your life and cost you money. Okay, remember that lesson. Somebody else's incompetence. They don't even have to work for the same company. They don't have to be your friend. They don't have to be in your circle of friends. They don't have to be in your family. They don't even have to live in your neighborhood. Somebody else's incompetence can have a tremendous impact on your life. So we move into our new office, which is where we are now. It's more than double the space, double the warehouse, triple the warehouse space. It was a tremendous move. It gave us opportunity to continue to grow. And we got to a break point where we are now, and we've been here for a few years. At the recording of this video, our business went, I hope I'm doing this right in the camera, went up like this and then kind of plateaued, and we're kind of here. Plateau is a bad place to be. So we're making changes in the company and things that we can do to continue that growth. Part of that is for people to do what's assigned to them, what's asked of them. And when the company grew beyond the ability for me, the owner, the original founder, to manage it all and oversee it all tightly, things haven't worked so well. Truthfully, it's been hard. We're changing that. Okay. What we need from you, and let's look at the history and why we're telling you all this. There's tremendous opportunity in this business still. In 2018, people barely knew what the word soft wash was. I had a story back when I had a piece of equipment stolen, a pressure washing trailer stolen. I'm calling around all the pressure washing companies to tell them, hey, if you get this, somebody trying to sell you this, can you let me know? They stole it from me. What's soft wash? This comes from the owners. You find those same companies today advertising soft wash, 30 years experience. 5 years ago, they're asking me, what the hell is soft washing? Right? But they got 30 years experience. Anyways, look back in that short amount of time. Think about it. It's 2024 right now. So in the last 6 years, we went from a market. I started soft washing in this market in 15, but let's say from 18 to today, in just 6 years, you went from most power washing companies still didn't even know what soft washing was, let alone their clients, to where it's hard to find a company that calls themselves a power washing or pressure washing company. So the market has changed, and it's gotten a lot harder, more competitive to be the soft wash guy to say, this is what I can do for you, because the clients go, I got 50 guys that can do that for me, but they don't. Okay. And so our job is to put forth our best effort. This is how you make the company work. And when the company works, what's that mean for you? It means it works for you. Will you find prosperity in a company that's just kind of mediocre and here? If we're here, we have one service manager. How many service managers do we have when we're over here? One. That time period could be a year or it could be 10 years. If we don't grow, and in 10 years, what opportunity is there for you? Service manager doesn't quit. You're just a lead or a team leader. Might be an apprentice still if none of the leads quit. Nobody gets fired and nobody quits and the company doesn't grow. You don't move. So the growth is required in order for you to have continuing prosperity. How does that happen? Happens one piece at a time, one decision at a time, one day at a time. For reference, this class is being taught. We had 5 people assigned to be here today. 2 of them showed up on time. 1 of them walked in late. 1 of them hasn't gotten here. No show. Okay. And the other person actually had a reason to not be here. This class was organized with a little bit of a short notice, and they had an obligation they couldn't get out of, and we excused them for that. But look at that. We should have a simple statement to say we had 5 people assigned and 5 people were here and they were on time, dressed, groomed, ready to work, good attitude, punctual, all that stuff. Okay. That's how you change the company. Doing the basics. Learning some super secret trick to soft washing is not what's going to change your life and make an impact on this company. What makes an impact on this company is making a smooth operation by you just doing the ABCs, the essentials of what's assigned to you. So when you look at the history of the company, we've been through it all, man. We've done some things you don't even know. I've cleaned 19-story buildings. I've done jobs that are priced well over $100,000. We've had 2 different jobs going at once where you had the swing stages, those big scaffold. They call them scaffolding. It's actually swing stages. We've had 2 swing stage jobs out at once. We've had 2 boom job lifts out at one time, where one job that had a 135-foot boom lift, we finished that job and went and did another one the next week. Like, we've done some stuff here that you would say is a big deal, and we've done 2 and 3 of those at a time. I've had 3 apartment jobs going at once. You go to the average power wash company, wannabe soft wash company, they can barely handle and manage how to get through one of those on time and punch out punctually, and we can do 3 of them at once and punch out. We've accomplished a lot. There's a whole lot more to accomplish, and that's why you're here, to help the company accomplish that. And the fruit that's in it for you is real prosperity. This is meant to be a career development company, not a paycheck. So if that's what you're looking for, if that's why you're here, I welcome you in. It's a great place to be. It's a great place to work. If you're looking for a paycheck, I can tell you this: you're not going to last very long, because you're not going to enjoy the environment. Because we will push you and push you and push you to strive and demand more excellence from you. And if you're just looking for a paycheck, there's easier places to get that. You won't want it from here. So I'm going to wrap up this lesson, and we'll move on to the next one. Enjoyed sharing some of the history of the company with you, and looking forward to the rest of this.